Introduction. This story is an estuary of emotions, mixed and confusing, salt water flushing the mud out of the marsh that surrounds my heart. Her phone calls are like the diurnal tide, refreshing, leaving behind nourishment and bringing forth new life. I am the land crab inhabiting that littoral zone, moving sideways but never forward. She, she is the patient watcher, learning my habits, my places of retreat, my defensive claws. I present this tale with no apology, no explanation, and no ending except hope. That said, I hope you like it. The Unspoken Words, a Halfabook production, read to you by Nick Delmedico. An empty heart should not stay vacant for long. That's what she told me. Promise me you'll find someone again. What she really meant was find love again, but she didn't say it that way. She couldn't. She was already the love of my life. I would do anything for her. And I did. The best marriages survive most anything. As the Duke said in some movie, all the gold in Fort Knox and all the harp music in heaven don't equal what happens between a man and a woman with all that growing together, or something like that. I wonder what country wisdom he could offer about end-stage cancer. When the doctor said 4 months, we left that day on a bucket tour. For a while, it was all adventure and sightseeing, even a zip-line tour. Stopovers with old and new friends were great distractions. But death cannot be distracted for long, especially when it sits beside you on the couch at night or lays in bed between you. The conversations had become serious. Some of them I dismissed as the ravings of a dying woman. I took the promises seriously, as you always should. But I never said I'd move on and find a new relationship. No, sir, I couldn't make that promise. Will you die with me? Can we pass together? Will you join me on a new adventure? I can't do that, I say. Think of some excuses. What about our kids? Who's going to take care of your mother? What about the rest of my whiny reasons? And I think, are they more important than you? I'll say anything but the scary truth. I don't want to die. The doctor was better than a fortune teller. 4 months to the date. What would fate hold next? Funerals, ashes, consolation, and comfort food. These are the things that distract the living. The tarot readers say death represents change. Change is the only constant in the universe. Oh, thank God this will be over soon. My heart is emptied, then filled with new emotions. They hang like bats in the tiny caverns of my atria and ventricles. It is true that we men think our way through life, but women move with their hearts. They are creatures of love. Thinking your way through emotions is the most difficult and painful thing a man can do. Yes, hit me with a hammer, slap me silly, fist fight. These things don't hurt near as much. In the years since her death, things have settled. I've become an archaeologist of my own life, much like many old people. I sift through the regrets and the rewards, sometimes cataloging them, sometimes tossing them aside like another unearthed shard of pottery. Her words are persistent. An empty heart should not stay vacant for long. I ignored them all, the widows, the desperate women, the ones looking to validate their life rather than find a true partner. I ignored them all but one, her best friend. It felt sinful at first, like a betrayal. Even though she was dead, it had the smell of a cheap affair. I did not cross that line when she was living, so why would I now? It's just an occasional phone call, I tell myself. No big deal. The phone calls come more often. For her, I'm a poor substitute for my wife, yet I'm drawn into her tenderness with each new call. I feel powerless to resist, for who can resist love? Not for long, anyway. I slowly fall into the subtle gravity of her heart. But enough prelude. I will mute these maudlin words and, like a sitcom drama, try to show you the story. You are the smartest man I know, she says. I have her on the speakerphone, so I shout into thin air. Google Gemini tells me the same thing, I say. I'm not the smartest man I know. You are. You helped me through microbiology. Do you remember? I remember. It was a little thing. 25 years ago, she was studying for a test, and I made a cassette tape she could listen to while she drove around. Between facts about the Krebs cycle and Gram stains, she absorbed enough to pass. She laughed. It tickled her memory. Mine, too. I made the tape under duress, I said. She gave me the alternative of dressing up like you and taking the test in your place. Laughing, she says, I guess it was easier for me to learn microbiology than it was for you to learn to be me. It would take a lifetime to learn to be you, I say. Besides, I could never be you. You're one of a kind. These conversations always follow a pattern. After the mutual flattery, we reveal parts of our inner self to each other. She doles them out over multiple phone calls, like rare treasures. I collect them and sort them like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. I store them away in memory until I get enough pieces to make sense of her world, and, of course, to see how she fits into mine. Which leads me to the next phase of these recurring conversations, the admonitions of love. You know what I think of you, she says. I love you. I love you too, I say. No, I love you. I love you too. You're a wonderful, smart woman. Not what she wants to hear. We're past the flattery phase of this conversation. I go back to the topic at hand. I love you too, I say, my voice low and sincere. She retreats for a moment, then comes back, quick like an adolescent schoolgirl, yet playful and inviting. I said it first, she says. Well, I said it too, I say. But I said it first, she says. And once again, I'm reminded who's the more courageous one here. Color blindness is a genetic condition that affects only men. One day the scientists will find a similar gene that makes me blind when a woman talks love to me. It becomes obvious when pointed out to me, like seeing the old woman's face in the optical illusion. Or perhaps it's more like seeing the object called the devil's tuning fork, that thing that shows two emerging features that somehow become three at the other end. It is an illusion that just doesn't exist in the real world. Why don't we get married? Even though the question hits my heart like Cupid's arrow, I don't respond. She is a nurse by trade and can bring back the dead, but she cannot prune the dead limbs from my wooden heart. I have rejected her by my silence. The conversation degrades as it moves into another phase, always shifting to the glue of the past that keeps us stuck. I loved your wife, too. She was my best friend. I stopped a plane once when she called me, saying she needed me. We were that kind of friends. Oh, I miss her. I miss my best friend. I miss her, too. When she was dying, I came to see her. Do you remember? How can I forget? You took her to a hotel and gave me a break from the death watch. She died 2 weeks later. Yes, she was my best friend. She was a best friend to both of us. I'm a better person because of her. The conversation has somehow twisted away from the elephant between us. We sometimes play YouTube songs to each other at this point. Music has the ability to capture and transmit emotions. The marriage proposal, that moment of naked admission, has fallen off the plate for the rest of this call. I admit I was as enthusiastic as a boiled turnip. I am quiet, a coward hiding behind a concrete barrier, a silent voyeur who sees the truth but will not speak of it. She is a nurse performing like a surgeon, opening up my insides to find out what's wrong with me. She sees a way to help, and also a way to mend her own pain. I can feel her breath coming over the phone as we draw closer to each other. The next day always brings redactions. They fall like a shovelful of dirt on an open grave. Oh, I was so drunk last night. I don't know what I was saying. I feel so much better this morning. I must convince myself it was just a dream. Nothing to get emotional over, nothing to pine away over. We set fire to those engraved invitations to keep warm last night. Time to douse the flames and move on. I hear her nervous laughter. Like an Eskimo, I can detect the subtle differences. There's the titter, the giggle, the chortle, joy, mirth, and mildly amused, just to name a few. I ask myself, when did I become aware of these subtleties? Days, weeks go by. The next call rings in, a continuation of the same subject. Let's do something crazy, she says. What do you mean, I ask. I'm still fishing for what she calls crazy. I don't know, something crazy. This is beginning to sound like my midlife crisis. The truth is, I'm already crazy, but I won't admit it. I can think of a lot of crazy things. Help me out here. We go someplace with little or no plan. We stay 2 weeks to a month. No one must know. We keep it a secret. Where would you go, I ask. She doesn't answer, just deflects to me. I asked you first. I rattle off a few places, but she's been everywhere. She's a traveling nurse. I'm forced to suggest more and more exotic locales. Tahiti, Bora Bora. She's lukewarm to it, but she's never been there. Sounds interesting. But we dismiss it. It's a tourist place and doesn't fit the criteria. Japan, I say, but she's been to Tokyo. Let's go to Kyoto then. Okay, the Seychelles. There's an airport in Mahi. Where's that? It's in the Indian Ocean, about 1,000 miles east of Africa. Pretty remote. Then it hits me. Someplace I've always wanted to go. Ever hear of Iguazul? No, where is it? South America, at the convergence of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. What's there? It's a massive convergence of waterfalls. We take a plane to Rio de Janeiro. From there, we go to Iguazul and spend a few days before we cross over the border into Argentina. We get to see the falls from another perspective. We can take a boat from there down the river to Buenos Aires. We spend a few days, then hop a plane back to Atlanta. Now there's some interest. Okay, so you always wanted to go to this place, Iguazul. What else do we do when we get there? Oh, we meet the locals and see what's happening. Avoid the tourists? I like that. We'll meet people everywhere, on the plane, on the tours, at the bars and beaches. Yes, it's beautiful. We could even get married under a waterfall. The words drop like falling water from my lips. Was it a slip of my Freudian tongue, or a bold admission of the truth? Water does not flow upstream. What has fallen has fallen. Nothing is said for a long time, or maybe it's just a few seconds. I don't know. In cases like this, time is measured in heartbeats. Now it is I who feels the rejection. Am I relieved, disappointed, hurt? Men and their emotions. A few words are exchanged and the talk is over soon. The safe subjects come up. My wife, friendship, the past, music, whatever. The morning redaction call always comes. It follows a civil text message which announces and tests availability. I didn't know what I was saying last night. I was drunk. I really don't want to do that. It was fun to think about it, though. And just like that, the concrete Jersey barriers are back in place, keeping us safe in our separate lanes. Then there is my own litany of redactions. Yeah, you're right. We're just good friends. Let's keep it that way. It was a silly idea. Us married? Oh, that would definitely be crazy. Then the ones I only tell myself. It would never really work out. I had my great romance. I don't think I could ever be married again. But is there not some truth to my words? Could I not love her with the same passion that I loved the love of my life? The journey from friend to potential life partner and back to widow is quick, almost painless. The early morning denials are over. All future conversations implicitly carry the same disclaimer. And suddenly, there's no place to go but inside myself, lost in the labyrinth of wishes and dreams. How did I let it get this far? The image of getting married under a waterfall is strong in my heart. I was sure marriage is what she meant by something crazy. It's not the first time the subject has come up between us. I tell myself we both want this thing, this merger of friendship and desire. I tell my daughter-in-law about these crazy conversations and the latest developments. Be careful, she warns. You keep thinking about getting married under a waterfall and you'll find it happening one day. Yikes, she's right. I slip back into my normal, comfortable life, far from waterfalls and Iguazul, until the next phone call, when the topic, despite all warnings, pops to the surface again. What's wrong with getting married? There are a million no's. I'm a country boy, you're a city girl. I live out west, you live back east. You like to travel, I'm a homebody. The logic of the mind trying to rule the heart. Oddly enough, despite all reasonable objections, I know I'd make a good husband to her. I just can't imagine what my life would be like. No more loneliness, for one. Love grows and opens like a flower. Give it time, and I will love her with all my heart. This is certain. My wife knew this about me. It's why she wanted me to fall in love again. I'm too old for romance, I think. But that's not true. I'm just afraid of losing the life I have. But by God, here's this romance story, unlocking my heart to get everything out in the open. I tell myself I'm not crazy, but she still is. What about the crazy thing we're going to do, she says. I don't know. The wheels begin to turn again, grinding the grist of my thoughts into fine powder. She pours that powder on my heart like poultry seasoning. I try to ignore it, but she's already seen that I'm a chicken. She has the courage in the upper hand. It is courage born of liquor, but bravery in the face of fire nonetheless. How do you quell a burning heart? You can cross-dress if you want, she says. Crazy and getting crazier. I'm too old and ugly to do that anymore, I say. Let's just stick to getting married under a waterfall. Isn't that crazy enough for you? It's a high-stakes poker game of love. Who is bluffing and who's ready to up the ante and who's ready to throw in the chips? You don't really want to do something that crazy, I say. You're just a tease. Tomorrow morning you'll call me and tell me you were drunk and everything you said was just that, talk. Now I've riled up her beehive. She comes back at me with accusations. Oh yeah? You're the one who's scared. Every time I mention marriage, you get awfully quiet. Ouch. Yeah, and the morning after, every one of our would-be marriages is annulled. A moment's silence. Iguazul, huh? Under a waterfall, I say. Are you really asking me to marry you? It dawns on me that this is no way to propose. There's no ring. My knees should hurt when I kneel. I can't even look up into her face and see her reaction. I might as well have texted her. Just doesn't feel romantic to me. This is more like internet love or getting a Russian bride. The next morning, instead of remissions, there are arrangements to make. Plane tickets, connecting flights, dates and financial commitments, travel papers, passports, visas, and itineraries, lodging, tours, fees, shuttles, boat rentals, marriage license. We agree on a date. Days, weeks, months go by. The phone has gone silent. She's off on another assignment, traveling the world. Our lives would never fit together. How could we even consider marriage? Love may be an adventure, but this ending has all the fear of an African safari without guides. Maybe that's what I need to do. Face the lion and my fear. The day arrives. I am at an airport in Atlanta. Only a backpack and a ticket to Rio. I'm waiting. It's a busy airport and she's not in sight. They're calling for boarding. I have no luggage. I board the plane. Next to me is a first-class seat, empty and waiting. Love is patient, or so they say. I watch the faces pass down the center aisle for a while, then turn away. I'm lost in fantasy, my mind anticipating new places, new challenges, and a fresh start. I'm staring out the window, watching the airport buzz with moving luggage carts, official vehicles, catering, and fuel trucks. I wake from my daydream to find that last boarding has been called. The doors have been closed, and the stewardess is explaining the safety measures. I check my phone. There are no messages or missed calls. I obediently set it to airplane mode. Conversation is sparse. The food has no flavor. The sleeping stranger beside me offers no chance for confessions. Oh, it's a long flight. I think of an old movie, substituting Atlanta for the Empire State Building. Maybe she's sick or hurt or something must have happened. As the plane touches ground, I fall back to earth. I've decided to continue on my own. I'm used to it. 1,000 lies follow, starting with marriage was a stupid idea. I'm no longer in airplane mode. There are no new messages. I tell myself it's because I'm in a foreign country and using a different phone system. I follow the crowd to customs, digging out my passport and paperwork. The man is speaking Portuguese. I'm the foreigner, but I'm also partially deaf. I'm used to interpreting actions as words I cannot hear. I think he wants to search my backpack, so I lay it down on the table. He's asking me questions, but once he sees my passport, he begins speaking perfect English. He smiles. His smiles do little to lift my spirits. I'm alone again, a stranger in a strange land. Where are you going? He asks. Iguazul, I say. It's been a long time dream of mine. His smile gets wider. I have been there, he says, handing me back my documents. Have a nice time. With a stern twist of his head, he's looking at the next person in line. The way out empties into confusion. Out of habit, I follow the signs towards baggage claim. There's congestion at the end of a long hallway that is led from the gates and past the crowds moving through security. My gaze is downward, staring at the floor ahead of me and the backs of people going in the same direction. Someone calls my name. I hear it, but I know they want a different person. How many Smiths or Jones or Jeffersons are there in the world? Certainly they don't mean me. But I'm stopped by a man holding a sign. On the back of the sign is a picture of me held in place with thick packing tape. He smiles, turning the sign to show me. You are he? I'm confused, but I nod yes. This must be what it feels like when an amnesia patient awakens and remembers it all. He leads me out of the airport, and I have finally figured it out. This is part of the tour I signed up for. It's the hotel shuttle. What else could it be? There's a limousine waiting by the curb. He opens the door. About time you got here, she says. I couldn't wait. I took an earlier flight. I squeeze in beside her, my hand moving to grasp hers. The other hand is on the ring in my pocket. Phones can fax, send messages, transmit data, transfer money, even kick off a 3D printer, but there are certain things you cannot do over a phone. Like kiss. The end.